Do you like Mondays? Yes. That's a quiet yes. Okay. All right. We started quite well on time. My name is Jeannie, as I've been introduced. Heller. I work with the Lyon Institute of Higher Education in Switzerland. I teach at the bachelor's level. Please tell me if I'm speaking too fast or if you don't understand. Okay, and I will slow down. I hope you understand my English. I speak many languages, so I have different accents in my English, and you might be hearing that. I teach economics and marketing in Lyon, and it's a university of higher education. I teach at the bachelor's level, so I have about 10 years working experience in teaching. I've been teaching in Florida and the United States as well, and then I moved to Switzerland, and I've been teaching there now for 6 years. Okay? Do you have any questions? Would you like to know anything about me before I start? Okay, everyone looks very frightened. Okay, I would like it to be an interactive session. If I have some questions, I will ask you some questions, okay? And please feel free to put up your hand and ask me questions if you wish to through the session. Okay, I have 1 hour with you. In this hour, I would like to very clearly define what we are going to be doing, okay? I'd like to introduce to you a concept in learning and in education, which we call reflective practitioners, okay, or reflective learning. Okay, don't worry about the big words. A practitioner is essentially a person who practices, okay, something. So being reflective, what is being reflective, and how do you improve yourself as a student, okay? Our teachers here do a lot of work for you, I'm sure. They work very hard. I've seen some of your classes. I've observed a lot of the sessions that have been going on. And you as students work really hard. I've seen that. You're very engaged. You're very much involved in your tasks in the classroom. The teachers work very hard to contribute to your learning. But how can you yourself, apart from what you do in the classroom, become or try to learn to be better students? Okay, and that is what we will be focusing on in this session. So how should you develop your own personal planning and development program? Because very soon your teachers may not be there, and you've grown up and you need to learn. Okay, so you want to be learners and students for life, learners at least for life, if not students, right? We never stop learning, right? You're always learning. Okay. All right, so I will take you slowly through each of these slides. Please stop me and ask me any questions if you don't understand something, okay? So it's called Reflective Practitioners and Your Personal Development Planning, which means how can you plan to develop yourself personally? It's a very simple few clues and tips which I will be giving you, okay? So let's start off by what is really self-reflection. You need to reflect on yourself if you wish to be better students and better learners. Do you agree? Do you think that you need to think about yourself and what kind of a student you are? Am I a good student? Do I learn fast? What do I need? Do I learn better if I see something? Do I learn better if I read something? Am I better at languages? Am I better at numbers? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Okay? When you think about yourself and how you're learning, then you're better able to learn. Okay? And that is what we mean by self-reflection. So in order to be a successful, independent learner, you need to take responsibility a little bit for your own learning, okay? Your teachers tell you to do a lot of things, your parents are telling you to do a lot of things, okay, towards your learning, but you yourself as well need to take some responsibility, right, for your learning? Okay. So how do you do that? To be an independent learner, you should be self-reflective, which means you need to reflect or think about yourself. What is reflection? What is reflection?
Basically thinking about what you are thinking about yourself, what you have done, your behavior patterns, or what.
Absolutely, very good. Self-reflection is thinking about your own self, your own behaviors as a student or as a learner. Okay? So being self-reflective or being a self-reflective learner is a lifelong exercise, and it starts with your willingness to observe yourself. We're very, very often interested in observing others. We like to see what others are doing, how they are learning, what they do. Do they do it better than me or not? Am I number one in class or not? Okay? We are competitive, and that's good. But we should also learn to reflect and look within ourselves. So we are more interested sometimes in observing and criticizing other people than observing ourselves. So I think if we observe ourselves, we can be much better at learning, okay? Firstly, you must pay attention to patterns in what we observe in our own behavior. Is there some pattern in your behavior? Okay, if you put up your hand in class and you answer a question and your answer is wrong, okay? Do you feel embarrassed? Do you not like it? Okay, are you fine with it? Are you okay with it? These are things that you need to think about and observe about yourself. Do you answer at all in class? Do you put up your hand? Do you interact? Do you answer questions when teachers ask you? And so on, okay? So thinking about yourself. So see if there are any patterns in your behavior. Are you having some kind of behavior patterns? Am I going too fast? Do you understand me?
Yes.
Am I clear? Okay. Then you would need to take some appropriate steps or actions, some useful actions that you feel will help you to improve, okay? It is important to be honest, to be realistic, and not to be very critical about yourself, okay? Don't be too harsh or too hard on yourselves. So when you think and say, okay, my language skills are not very good, or my English is not very good, or my French is not very good, or whatever, don't be too harsh on yourself, okay? Judge yourself in a very realistic way. Okay? So why should you self-reflect? Okay, we are constantly seeking knowledge today. Your learning will not stop in school. Okay, once you're done with school, you move on to college. Once you're done with college, you go to university, then you start working. And when you're working, you're learning as well. You're constantly, I'm here to learn as well. Okay, I'm sharing my experience, but I'm learning as well. So we are constantly learning, and as educators, as teachers, we want to ensure that you take as well some responsibility for your lifelong learning, okay? You're going to be learning all your life, okay? So how do you do that? And self-reflection will help you to do that, okay? So what do we do? Being a reflective learner and practitioner, meaning one who practices self-learning and self-reflection, what do you need to do? You have to be proactive. What is the meaning of proactive? Anyone? What's the meaning of proactive?
Being more active.
Very good. Being more active.
It's like you do something without being told to do it.
Very good. Absolutely. You do something without being told to do it. You think yourselves, you reflect, and you proactively take responsibility for your learning. Which means you don't have to be told by your teacher or by your parents. You know that this is what I need to do. And that is proactive. So you have to be proactive. In selecting, meaning choosing, using and recording. Recording meaning making a note of, however you wish to do that. Okay? The support which you need outside the classroom. What do we mean by that? The support you need outside the classroom could be in the form of, for example, maybe additional tuitions or lessons or time or space for yourself. Okay? You may want to study with a friend, or you may want to learn with a friend. Maybe you like discussing and learning. Okay? Maybe you learn better in a group. Maybe you learn better alone. So these are things that you need to think about yourself and how you learn best. Okay? And that is where you need to be proactive. You need to select, use, and record what kind of support you need for your learning. Okay? So let's look at some key elements in this process. Okay, how do you go about this process? What are the key elements? First thing is your self-awareness. Okay, you have experiences in classrooms. You know what you're discussing. You're constantly with your friends and you're in school. So you are having some self-awareness. Okay, you know I'm the best at this in class, or this is what I'm very good at, or this is what I'm not so good at. I want to improve. That is your self-awareness. Okay. Then you identify a desired outcome or a goal, and you state very clearly, if you think about it, as to how you will achieve it or reach it. Okay? How do you plan to do that? What do you mean by an outcome or a goal? Anyone? What is an outcome or a goal?
Ma'am, something that outcome will be something that results in whatever actions you do, and goal will be what you have set for yourself and what you have to do.
Very good, excellent. Okay, so he's explained it very clearly. I don't need to explain it. Very clearly, an outcome is your desired outcome, and the goal is very clearly defined as what it is that you wish to achieve. Okay, it could be language skills, it could be anything. We'll take some examples later. Monitoring and managing your progress. There's no point in setting a goal or an objective, but you don't do anything about it. You don't monitor it. You don't see how you're going to progress. Okay, you must monitor that. You must have clear timelines for these goals. Okay, so let's say 3 months, I would like to achieve this. And that's your own initiative. Okay, that's from your own self-learning. Not because the teacher said it, or because your mom said it, or your dad said it. Okay? Now, do any of you do that? Do any of you do what I'm now explaining? I'm sure some of the older, the higher level students do that. In some way, unconsciously, do you do it? Probably, okay? I hope you do. Monitoring and managing your progress, so you should monitor and you should manage it, and then you should have some of these, use these techniques which you will develop, your own techniques they could be. These will always help you in your learning and working life later on. Okay, so you constantly, unconsciously, you will be practicing this. So how do we self-reflect? Very simply, you do this by identifying your needs. What are your needs? What are your problem areas? Okay, recognizing your strengths while you do this. Don't only think about weaknesses, or I can't do this, I'm not good at this. Try and see what are your strengths as well. Okay, and you should know how to utilize them. Okay, what are my strengths and how can I use them best towards pushing and moving myself forward, okay, in the learning process. You also need to identify areas where you may have limitations and ways in which you can overcome these. So I am limited in this area, I'm not good at this, okay? Don't try and achieve something that is very, very unrealistic. Have a realistic goal and see how you can use your strengths to achieve that what you cannot do very well, okay? Most successful people in business, we say, and even in life, are those who learn from their mistakes. So you will make mistakes, of course, but that is your self-learning process, okay? So what am I trying to do here today? I'm trying to make you realize that you need to, through self-reflection and practice, be a self-learner as well, okay? And that is really what we are moving towards today. You know, with technology and all of that, the classroom is soon going to be very, very a place where you're learning more yourself. The teacher is just guiding you, okay? So don't look at your teachers as the only source of learning. You must learn yourself as well. Okay, you could do what we call a skills check if you wish to. What is a skills check? Okay, you have a certain skill. For example, computers, or IT, or language, or math, numbers. Some of you are very good at numbers. Who's good at numbers here in math? Okay, very good. Who's good at languages? Okay, good. How many, what languages? English? French? Hindi? And? Yes? Hindi as well? Marathi? Do you do Marathi here? No. No? What other languages? And you're good at French? But you would like to be better at French? You would like to improve your language skills? Okay, very good. So, now you have identified, yes?
I was wondering how many languages you know?
I speak, that's okay. I know English, I know a little Hindi, I know Gujarati as well. I know German, I'm fluent in German and in French. So French, German and English are the main languages I use every day. And otherwise when I'm in India, I can speak Hindi and I can speak Gujarati. I'm not very good at Marathi. Marathi is not very good. Okay, so you've identified a skill. You could do a skill check and you could say, I can use the skill very well. Okay, I can use the French language very well. Okay, maybe not. Okay, so the next level would be, I can use the skill well with some improvements, but some improvements can be made. Okay, so you're pretty good, but you feel yes, there's still some scope for improvement and you would like to be better. You are assessing that for yourself. Okay? I need to improve the skill. It's really not that good. I need to improve it. Okay, so here you're looking at different levels on a scale. Okay? Then you say, I need to put in considerable work to develop the skill, which means I have to really put in an effort if I want to have a good level of use of the French language. Okay? And I have not had the opportunity to develop the skill at all. So there may be some skills which you've not had the opportunity to develop, and you feel, okay, maybe I need to do something about this. Is there any such skill that comes to your mind that you have not had the opportunity to develop at all? I'm sure the school covers all of the skills that you need to. But is there something that you feel that I would like to know about? I don't know anything about this. What could it be? Anyone? No. Very good. That speaks very highly of the institute. Maybe cooking. Very good. And? Aero modeling. Okay, cooking, aero modeling, very interesting. What else? Anything else that you feel is a skill you would like to know, but you know nothing about? Okay, very interesting, because in schools in Europe, we teach cooking as well. Okay, in high schools, we have cooking classes for girls and boys. Even boys have to learn cooking. Would the boys here like to learn cooking? Oh, you would, huh? Yes. There you go. Very good. Excellent. You would like to learn as well?
Yes.
Very good. Okay. So we've identified some skills here which you have not had the opportunity to develop or learn. How are we doing on time? You're okay? No. So what I've talked about in the last few minutes is essentially that you have some kind of reflective learning. Try to be a reflective learner. Okay? Think about your strengths and weaknesses. We are looking now at how you can do this. A personal development plan is what you would like to do, or you should have. And this personal development plan, or PDP as we call it, is something which will help you to clarify and plan your personal goals and to become lifelong learners. You do know that the mission and the vision of your school includes, does anyone know what is the vision and the mission of your school here? You do? Go ahead.
Basically, it's like to make us more inquisitive, more creative, and explore the world around us.
Very good. Okay, so these are some important elements of the mission and the vision of your school, and that includes being lifelong learners. Okay, so this is what this kind of plan will help you to be lifelong learners. So what are we going to do, or how could we do it? Okay. You need to have a PDP, or you should have, one way of doing it, one tool of doing this is to have a personal development plan, okay? And what is this plan, okay? It provides you with tools and techniques which will help you to clarify your personal goals and to plan your academic and professional future, which means your work future. Do any of you know right now what you would like to be in the future? What you would like to work as? Okay. Automobile engineer. Oh, that's my husband. He's an automobile engineer. Very good. Okay. Singer. And? Doctor. Civil engineer. Okay.
Car designer.
Car designer. See a lot of interest in cars. That's very good. Businessman.
Computer engineer.
Computer engineer. Lawyer. Sports person. A sports an athlete. Okay, very good. A doctor and a businessman. Very interesting. Okay, we have a diverse, good range of professions here. Okay, so your personal development plan will provide you with tools and techniques which will help you to clarify your personal goals and help you to achieve or plan your academic and your professional life. If you know that you would like to be a computer engineer, okay, then you know that there are some skills that you would need for this. So you can already start thinking about those and planning and developing yourself. You don't have to wait for your teachers, right? It will also empower you to take control of your own learning and personal development. So you are empowered. The more empowered we are, the better we learn. Okay, you're empowering yourself. Okay, so you're taking responsibility. How can you do this? This is a kind of a format that I have here. I'm not sure if you can see it very well, but I will read it out, okay? On the first column on the left side, okay, you see area of my personality where I wish to increase impact. So if you can't see it too well, I'm going to write it down because it's important. You might want to note this down. You might want to write it down. So on the left-hand side, in the first column, we have area of my personality where I wish to increase impact, which means you want to have some area where you want to make an impact through your personality. It could be your communication skills, your language skills, your interaction with people, your social skills. It could be anything. Okay, I have put down some examples here, and we will see how it would work. Then you will put down what would be maybe your objective. The next column is my objective. Now, how do we know how objectives should be? Have we heard of the acronym SMART? SMART objectives? Do we know what are SMART
Yes,
objectives? What are they?
Ma'am, it's given on the school board downstairs. S is for, I forgot, but I is for reactiveness and something like that. Okay, but anyways, it just tells you how to set goals, how not to set unrealistic goals, and how to like basically set realistic goals that you can reach and perform and also get
Yes.
basically be a
Very
success in
good,
that.
absolutely. An objective should be SMART, which means it should be specific. Specific meaning very clear, extremely clear, okay? It should be measurable. If you cannot measure how you are doing or what you're doing, then there's no point in having an objective, okay? It should be achievable. Don't set goals or objectives which are not achievable. If you cannot achieve it, it's not worthwhile, okay? It's not motivating you, it's not good for you, okay? It should be realistic. These two are connected, achievable and realistic. If it is realistic, then it's achievable. If it is not a very realistic objective, then it may not be achievable, okay? And finally, it should be time-bound. There should be a time frame that you have within which you can achieve this objective, okay? So it should be timely. So then you state in the third column, it's concrete measures I commit to. Concrete measures that you commit to. Which means essentially, I am committing to these specific measures in order to achieve my objective, okay? And then finally, you have a deadline by when? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. Be realistic as well, okay? So, can someone give me an example of an area of your personality that you would like to increase in impact, where you wish to have more impact? Do you understand what I mean by that? Okay. What could it be? Anyone? Does anyone have some specific area? I have put down some examples, but maybe they're not very relevant to you. Yes?
Specific subject.
Improving in a specific subject. Which one? Which is your weak one? Math? Okay, so very good. Improving. Now, how do you mean by improving? Can we make it a little more measurable?
I give more of the time to match that study.
That is how you would do it. But where do you want to go when you say improving? Are you passing in math? Okay, so now you're passing in math, but you would like to be a little better. Get a distinction grade. Okay, so you have a very clear, measurable goal, right? You want to go there, right? So, you state that it may not be an area of your personality. Yes, numeracy and numerical skills are an area of our personality in some ways. And you wish to increase impact here, which means you wish to do better in this area. Okay, very clear? So what is your objective? Your objective is to move from a pass in mathematics to a distinction grade in math. Okay, this is your personal goal. So apart from what your teachers do for you and tell you and your parents tell you and do for you, you're going to take that responsibility as well. Okay, very good. So your objective is clear, you set it specific, measurable, okay, and you think about that. And then you see what concrete measures you can take or commit to. What kind of realistic concrete measures. Don't be unrealistic. Don't make yourself, don't drive yourself crazy about it, okay? How could you set a very realistic commitment for achieving this? Maybe half an hour more of math every day, okay, that's okay. Or maybe an hour more a week, okay? So that is up to you to decide. This is self-practicing, okay? This is learning by understanding your own self. How much more can I take? Can I do an hour more every day? Or can I do 1 hour every week, a little more? What could I do? Maybe different techniques. I could try and do some online exercises. I like the computer, so let me do math online. Okay, that could be an area you could look at. And so you're committing to that, you set yourself this goal and you do it. You monitor it and you measure it. Okay, you have to do it. And then you give yourself a timeline and say maybe 3 months, I will get this distinction. Or I will at least try to get the distinction. You may not get it. That is no reason to be dissatisfied, okay? You should still go for it. But this is your way of setting yourself your own learning and your own targets, okay? Is that clear? Anyone has any questions? Anything that you don't understand or you would like me to explain again? Did I speak too fast? Could you understand what I was saying?
Yes.
Very good, okay. So is it clear?
Yes.
Have you written down these points at the top?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone, so you will do this, you will identify some area for yourselves and try to do this? Okay, very good. I am more or less done with the topic that I have been wanting to discuss today with you. We talked a little bit about self-reflection and what is self-reflection, how can you be a reflective practitioner, okay? What is the tool, which is your personal development plan, okay? This is called your personal development plan. This is one way of doing it. There are many ways. I've chosen this one for you, okay? And we've tried to see how we can ourselves take responsibility for our own learning, all right? And I'm sure you will all be doing that very soon. If you're not already doing it, I'm sure some of you are. At the higher levels in school, you do see that students take a lot more responsibility. For grade 9, grade 10, okay, are much more self-learners, right? Do you agree? Okay, very good. And then you put down your date at the bottom and your signature. This becomes your little document. It's for you. You don't have to share it with anyone, not with your parents if you don't want to, not with your teachers. It's for you, okay? This is your own personal plan. Okay, thank you very much for your time and your attention. If you wish now, what we could do is you could write down one area or one of your personality or skill that you would like to develop and have more of an impact in. Okay, so I would like you to sit and write that down, but overall I'm more or less done with my session. You can write it down, try and put down your objectives, see what you're committing to, okay, based on self-reflection and what we talked about, okay, understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, and trying to put down very realistic objectives and goals. Okay, you could do that if you wish, you can do it now, you can do it later. But I think I'm more or less done with my session. I don't know how I'm doing on time. We're doing well on time, okay. But that was not very long, okay. But we can probably do this. Okay.